Okay, discussion of the original set of problems. This will be quick and brief. There are two longer discussions. We have y equals f of x equals x to the p. Really should be a x to the p as we have it down here. Don't worry about that right now because it doesn't matter when we're constructing the graph. If the y factor is 3/2, then we construct the graph in the usual manner. The white marks here are the marks I used where x doubles. From here to here, x doubles, 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 doubles. The points are then determined by x increasing, x changing by a factor of 1.5. So we pick one point on the graph. I actually started with this point and moved backwards, going 2/3 of the y value with each halving of x, which is equivalent to 3/2 factor if x doubles. So we have this, we draw the orange curve, then we label the point 1, 4 according to instructions, and we get the x, and then we scale the axis, and that's all done in green. We scale this axis, we scale this axis, and there it is. Then what do? First thing we're asked to do is estimate f of 2, f of 3, and f of 3 minus 2, f of 3 minus f of 2. Okay, so to estimate f of 2, we start here, we come up, we come over. I estimated 5.6. These aren't very accurate. You know, this is not a completely accurate curve. It's freehand, and I wasn't all that careful. Anyhow, if x equals 3, I come up and over and estimate that f of 3 is 7.8. So there are my estimates for f of 2 and f of 3. Now, over here, I've got just a very approximate scratched graph, just indicating how these values are related. So if x is 2, then we come up and over, we get 5.6. If x is 3, we come up and over, we get f of 3 equals 7.8. Then we ask, what's f of 3 minus f of 2? Of course, we could subtract these, but I ask you to do this without calculating. So we come back to the graph, we look here, and we say, it looks like about 2 units. Let's see, down here that would be about 2. Up here it'd be a little less than 2. But we're going to say that's about 2. Now, of course, if we subtract these estimates, we get 2.2. Then we're asked to estimate the solution to the equation f of x equals 1. Now, what does that mean? That means that f of x equals 1, well, f of x values are on this axis, and the x values are on this axis, and the curve is here. So f of x equal to 1 would correspond to a y value of 1 on the curve. So we come up 1 unit and over to the curve and down, and I've done that here. It's pretty small. Here's 1. We come over and down, and we get about 0.2. So my estimate is that f of x is 1 when x is approximately 0.2. Then f of x is 10. Well, the solution to f of x equals 10. F of x is 10. Well, we come up to 10. We come over. We come down. My estimate was 4.6. There are a couple of anomalies in that estimate. This interval is a little too short, and it looks like my dotted line kind of curved upward a little bit. So I'd probably go with 4.3 or 4.4 if I had it to do over again. Now, I'll comment. We know that p is log to the base 2 of 1.5. If the point 1, 4 lies on the graph, that means we have y equals ax to the p, where y is 4 when x equals 1. So that 4 equals a multiplied by 1 to the p. 1 to the p for any power is 1. So that's just a, so a equals 4. If a equals 4, then y equals ax to the p is y equals 4x to the p. So this is a graph of y equals 4x to the p. And we know that p is log base 2 of 1.5. We talked about how to calculate that, and perhaps you understand what that means, but that's easy to punch into your graph. You do log 1.5 divided by log 2, and you get the actual formula for the function, so you can compare the results. Then we're asked to estimate f of 8 divided by f of 2. Here's a rough picture. Here's 8. Here's f of 8. Here's 2. Here's f of 2. Looks to me like from here to here is about the same distance, so that f of 8 is about twice as big as f of 2, so f of 8 over f of 2 would be about 2. On this graph, If we extrapolate out to 8 and see where the curve would be, I estimate that the graph would end up around f of 8 is 12, f of 2, 5.6. If I actually do the arithmetic, I see that f of 8 over f of 2 is a little bigger than 2, since 5.6 is a little smaller than half of 12. And there's that, maybe higher. But that should give you a picture, if you need it, to go on to the more challenging problems, subsequent problems.